right. You've all made it. It is the end of the day on a beautiful Friday Junior, as I like to call it. You have all made it. Andy and I have got some really great stuff for you. My name is Aaron Gooden, as you guys mentioned. My name is, Aaron Gooden, and I'm a director of, I am director on our enterprise commerce retail team.
Hi guys, I'm Andy Judd. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at Poppi, one of the fastest growing beverage companies in America.
And fast is definitely correct. I think it would be really great, Andy, if you could take the audience a little bit through how did Poppi really go from Shark Tank to what really feels like a household name? I mean, it feels like yesterday that you guys were on Shark Tank, and now, you know, everyone knows the infamous or famous ad, over on the left.
Yeah, well, before we get into it, I think we should probably answer the question the entire audience is wondering, which is, where do I get my fashion sense? This is Aaron.
This looks like a Bonobos original.
Yeah, yes. He was grilling me earlier. No, look, I mean, Poppi's been an incredible success. Founded by two incredible folks, a married couple, Allison and Stephen Ellsworth, who Allison was suffering from autoimmune issues, found apple cider vinegar, made an incredible drink, ultimately convinced her husband to quit his job with her and start what was then Mother Beverage. They went on Shark Tank, got a deal from an incredible investor, Rohan Oza, with Cabo Venture Partners, and as they say, the rest is history, which is partially true. The part that is really fascinating, I think, is what happens after that. Mm-hmm. So they had worked incredibly hard to make this beverage that was really about gut health and helping Allison feel better, and rebranded the whole brand. Afterwards, on the show, if you guys go on YouTube, you can see it. Rohan says, some famous words to the extent of, "This is an incredible product, but your brand sucks." National television.
That's something you want to hear.
Still got a deal, and then spent the next couple of years rebuilding the brand. Fast forward to the relaunch of the brand in March of 2020. And we're ready to go nationwide with Whole Foods at the time, and obviously in March of 2020, as they prepared for Expo West, March 11th of 2020, you guys can all remember where you may have been at that moment, things changed. Luckily, they had just filmed a Where Are They Now episode for Shark Tank that aired in April of 2020. And the viewership of Shark Tank at the time was amongst its highest moments. And so they had this incredible ability to tell the narrative of their brand and their company at an incredible moment. And they saw a really incredible inflection point on Amazon, literally 10x the run rate of Amazon in a single day. And so there was a really powerful moment, both in the narrative that they told around revolutionizing soda and the company that they were building, and that led to some really early successes. It also led, in the filming of that episode, Allison filming that in a Whole Foods, seeing some folks dance in aisles of a Whole Foods and saying, "What is happening?" And little to her surprise, that led to the education of TikTok. And we were one of the first brands that really embraced TikTok as the center point of how we tell our brand narrative and how we engage with our community. And then from there, you can see, we've then been stacking on top of both a socially native business as well as a digital commerce business to expand the brand from there. Ultimately laddering, as we'll talk today, into the Super Bowl in February of 2024.
I love that. I mean, how many of you guys know Poppi in here? How many of you guys love Poppi? Let's hear it.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Yeah. But obviously, it didn't always start that way, right? I think you mentioned you guys went onto Shark Tank, at that time selling on Amazon, and that was kind of that primary retailer with some expansion into Whole Foods. So really, if you can walk the team through a little, or the audience through a little bit more of, how did you guys start with retailers, and what was kind of that importance of like that retail strategy?
Sure. Well, I think the the baseline of the business is really important to understand the context. And as we go through our discussion today, I hope folks take away, yes, there were definitely some things like that Shark Tank re-airing that led to incredible inflection moments for the brand, but how we stacked our business on top of, in each kind of like platform or piece of the marketing mix together really was intentional. That investment early allowed us to build a really powerful engine and flywheel behind the business. And so we started on Amazon, had that moment. That led to a couple of retailers coming in, also underneath that, building an incredibly thoughtful social ecosystem. And as we started to think about what retailers do we want to go into, I had a CEO one time use these words that I love, which is like customers that make you famous. Right? And being strategic about where are the places that we want to go that allow us to leverage both the digital commerce business and a retail physical environment. What are the customers that would have a higher propensity for better for you beverage shoppers, and figure out strategically what is that right customer mix that we want. And simultaneous to that, what is that right customer mix that would have the tools that we could use to accelerate our business quickly in order to build case studies that we could then start rolling into incremental retailers from there. And I'll give an example of this. Costco. So like many emerging brands, we got a roadshow at Costco, but instead of putting our sales team into those stores, we had our roadshow run by our social media team, right? So we were immediately using that forum to begin a narrative towards our community. That then led to our community rallying behind that availability, driving the escalation of the velocity and the dollars per club. And then simultaneously, we used Instacart as a tool where we could isolate on a SKU basis to drive purchases into that store. The combination of those things led to a 90-day national rollout at Costco. Right, and so it was a strategic understanding of our shoppers, this environment. There are tools that we can leverage, and then approaching it from a creative perspective, like putting our social media team as the roadshow team in that environment. And there's been many other examples. How we activated 7-Eleven recently. We galvanized our community to go in there, and we had many of them go into 7-Elevens, talk to managers, pull product out. There's videos. In fact, we had over 1,000 user-generated videos of our community going into 7-Eleven to pull product out of the shelves or just outright buying them out. And exceeding our velocity expectations. And so I think it's, had we not been socially native and built that construct first, and not then thought creatively of how can we use it, we wouldn't have been able to take those acceleration points that then led to the momentum that we felt in the marketplace.
Yeah, really weaponizing your social base that you guys built, and Allison really took a lot of time to build, to say like, let's get this going. Nothing speaks louder, I think, to a retailer than that, right?
I use the word weaponize as well. I like to think about galvanizing them and helping them be a part of our brand journey. And I think that rich level of authenticity is really important.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I know, obviously, with a lot of those retailers, a lot of them have their own platforms, right? So like Costco, Instacart, Amazon, all of them have their own retail platforms where you can get customers who are actually showing intent on the platform. But what we started to do when we were working with you all is thinking, okay, now that we have people coming in, they're selling us out in store, we have a really good amount of volume on the platform from search, how do we go further up the funnel and look at things like streaming TV and using Amazon streaming TV inventory and really getting off platform to bring more viewers in? So if you can maybe talk to the audience a little bit about how did you guys use some of these retailer more upper funnel tactics?
Sure. Yeah, I consistent with the commentary around taking a digital commerce base, a social base, and then start layering into an omnichannel perspective and really diligently think about it. Same thing took place as we moved up the proverbial media funnel for us. Obviously, Amazon being both media marketplace and consumer marketplace led to a lot of our early wins because we could begin that process and we know the halo effects against that platform could really both drive that conversion as well as our early levels of awareness. But really, I think the powerful thing that we're doing, and it's not rocket science by any means, but it's dedication, and application, and a consistency of learning and applying insights and moving really rapidly to do things. And so some of the things we did, so we started in the end of last year beginning to test a lot of different things across streaming and across linear television to really get to what is that right mix, what works for us, what creative works for us, and beginning to build a knowledge estate. Then when we double down, which is a very consistent theme for this business, is learn, fail small, bet big. Right, and do it in rapid succession. I know we'll talk about tools in a second that help to illuminate some of those things. But that's really I want to say like the marketing engine as culturally relevant as we like to be, being culture's favorite soda, and we see some of those bigger over-the-top moments in our brand, whether that's Super Bowl or Met Gala or Coachella with Alex Earl. The truth is that yes, those are critical moments for cultural relevancy and awareness building, but the underneath marketing engine is a day-to-day, I would say passion that you have to have in order to earn the acceleration that we have. I'll give an example of that one in particular that I loved, which is even most recently, where we were testing college athletics for the first time as we began to stretch our brand to a more gender-neutral basis. And we weren't sure which of the college side we wanted to be on, whether it was male or whether that was women's basketball. And obviously, the overarching macro trend against women's basketball right now definitely had something to do with it. But we saw quickly the impact of men's basketball versus women's basketball, and then quickly started betting down. And getting even ahead of that macro trend, that when it hit, we were already in the right place. And had we not built a system and partnered with Bliss Point to understand what those pieces were, we probably would have missed and bailed elsewhere. And I think that's really the underlying component of our business that's probably not seen as publicly, if you will, but that I'm more proud of.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned a lot about making the right bets and making sure that you're having all of these different pieces that are talking together to make that optimal decision. I think a lot of the brands that are in this room can agree that as you're layering more in upper funnel, you're doing things with Coachella, you're in all of these retailers and additioning and expanding doors, how are you then connecting all of that? How are you making all of that noise not so loud? So can you talk to the audience maybe a little bit about tools and measurement that you feel like was really integral for your...
Sure, and those that may be following the Poppi journey, we see LinkedIn posts every once in a while where it's like, these guys are everywhere. Like what? Like how? And what are they doing? There was an influencer that posted on TikTok. And he's like, I don't know who gave this brand $1 billion gajillion. I did not get it. And then he tastes the product. He's like, I get it. And I think, but with that said, it is a lot of tools. I know that like Sean spoke earlier on some of the MMM tools, and what we're doing is taking as much data, which is painful to say out loud, as we can get, and looking for the connection points throughout. I think that a lot of brands hope that they're, even in the depiction of the image that you see here on the screen, like there's some false narrative even within that, because like there is not a one size solution. Like if you're looking for the silver bullet, like it's going to be a painful journey because you have to take 1,000 points of light in order to illuminate the answer. And that means looking at, an MMM model to understand on a macro level, how do I optimize my holistic marketing mix? And maybe even how do I optimize my underlying channel mix, whether it's a social to mid-funnel to upper funnel, and balance them across each other. You have to look at your media and your performance metrics. You have to look at your consumption. You have to look at your social pieces, and then begin to find the key indicators within your business model that make sense for you. It is not a one-size-fits-all. It is not a silver bullet. It is a dedication to performance management that requires hard work and effort, and finding the right data points to put all together. That whether it's AMC or CRISP or whatever it may be, it's definitely something that we're dedicated to a lot. I think it also makes us better partners. One of the things that our media team in particular that I am super appreciative of is they're not allowing other people to tell them the truth, right? We have invested in internal resources that are also reviewing that data that creates an incredible, friction almost with our partners that allows us to debate real issues and get to solutions faster along the way and having an opinion. And I think that's powerful. I think it's honestly, you and I have worked together for a number of years across multiple brands. Like you've been a part of that journey, and like that energy is contagious. And I believe it allows us to get the best out of each other.
It does. So you're not living in what some might call like an echo chamber, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So obviously measurement has been a huge piece. We've moved up the funnel for a lot of our different retailers. We've gotten the message out that, hey, we're here, we're in a lot more doors, we're in a lot more retailers. Then comes the final boss in all awareness, Super Bowl. Let's take a look. Right
you are a human on Earth, and throughout all of humanity's existence on Earth, there have been ideas, strides, and accomplishments. Some have been enormous, some have been small and personal, and others have been revelatory. A simple change that redefines everything we thought we knew. For example, this will be the last moment you ever think of soda as being a dirty word. Soda! As being bad for you, filled with unclean ingredients and unnecessary sugar. Because this is Poppi, and Poppi is soda. It tastes like soda, even better than others. It looks like soda, smells like soda, and fizzes like soda. Because it is soda. It will be the soda your kids and grandkids think of when they think of soda. And that's because this soda has none of the bad stuff. Instead, it has all of the flavor. Poppi is the next chapter in the story of soda. The future of soda is now, and it's called Poppi.
All right.
You can clap.
That's a round of applause.
You can clap. Sure.
I mean, how many of you guys in the audience watch the Super Bowl? Almost the whole room.
A good amount.
That's huge.
Yeah.
So obviously that moment was massive for Poppi. One would say, how do you top that? You know, what's next for Poppi for your guys' sustainable growth in the market as you really revolutionize soda?
Yeah, so let's take a couple of points here relative to both the Super Bowl and what's next. I want to reemphasize my earlier commentary, because the Super Bowl was a debate for many months. And I'm sure that our Bliss Point partners can hopefully not have too much PTSD through the volume of iterations of this conversation over the course of probably 6 months, truth be told. But it really was that learning engine that led us to feel confident in that decision. This campaign was not originally designed as a Super Bowl ad. It was just our campaign that we made to anthemically launch into the marketplace. We believe there is a universal truth that I love soda, but I hate the guilt, that can be told to any and all. If 90% of the U.S. is drinking soda, and so we really felt like this anthemic message would powerfully resonate. But it wasn't built for the Super Bowl. It was built for our equity campaign. As we launched in January, I'll let people kind of do the calculus on time. As we launched in January, we began to see the effects of that. So in Q4, we were testing the environment from a platform basis, Hulu and Amazon and Tubi and linear components that gave us a perspective of what channels and mixes and campaigns and audiences would resonate with our brand. And then when we launched the campaign, we saw then that, and Double Down on Dollars, we could see that escalation happen. And then we hit two really powerful moments. One was we bought into the NFC Championship game after seeing a couple of early indicators on some rent buys relative to the NFL. And so that was an escalation moment behind the brand. We then secondarily had a Grammy moment where that was another escalation behind the brand. That's really what led us to feel very confident that both we had the right mix, the right message, and then you go into the Super Bowl and soda's the single largest beverage drank during the Super Bowl. 39% of the US is drinking soda during that moment. There's no larger soda moment during the year for this brand. And one of the things, again, because I think of the dedication both to the product and what's in the can, as well as to our marketing model, we've accelerated every moment, and that was a moment that we knew we had to bet down on. The truth be told, to your direct question, is like, we're just getting started.
Yeah.
You heard me reference the 90%. That means 9 in every 10.
Yep.
We're still only at 1 in every 10
Yep.
that are drinking Poppi today. We have so much more room to cover. So I think it was a awakening for us to be able to take that narrative, know that multiple cohorts, regardless of demo and better for you, I'll say psychological attributes, like the message resonated at this point. And had it not been for an incredible team, both at Tenuity as well as internally, who I think some are here today. I don't know if Elisa or
Right
Tanya,
Jesse's
or
over there.
Joe, and the team are here, and then our partners. And is John Denny still here? Or he's way back in the corner. That feels about right. And then our internal team, Graham Geppert, our head of media and commerce, and his team, Ryan and Taryn, are just like, the team is incredible. Both sides of that leads to powerful moments like this.
Absolutely. That building of trust, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone, I think it's time for maybe some Poppi and vodka mixed cocktails.
Yes.
They make great
I'm
mixers.
game for that.
Yeah.
For sure. Absolutely.
Well, thank you all.